thoroughly enjoyed my second ever experience with EPICA. This was their music video for Fight to Survive. Really enjoyed it, especially after speaking to Simona Simons, the lead singer for my podcast and YouTube channel. I'll have a link later. Really enjoyed, taking what she said in that and then really watching for it in her performance here and the performance of the group and the music video and the soundscapes, the cinematic metal, right, that we get here. Really enjoyed. So I hope you guys enjoy as well. I hope you learned something, and I'll see you afterwards. Wow. Okay. So I got to chat with Simona Simons, the lead singer of EPICA, for my podcast and YouTube channel. I'll leave the link for that up here for you guys. It was a great conversation. And I was asking her about the genre that she felt like EPICA best fit into. And she said symphonic metal and cinematic metal. And I was picking her brain about her thoughts on those things. And I totally am seeing both right here, especially the cinematic metal, just because of, it's a very cinematic music video itself. And musically, we've got a lot of like film score elements and sound design that goes beyond just the symphonic aspects, where you just have typically symphonic, you think of orchestral and symphony and brass and, orchestral percussion or symphonic percussion, stuff like that. For cinematic, you get into more sound design where a lot of synthesizers are involved and other various sound effects that you wouldn't get from an orchestra. And so I'm really feeling the cinematic metal on this, and it's a really cool start to this song. And Simona just looking like a baller. Sick outfit.
Take off in 3, 2, 1, go!
See, like we've got big drum sets. We've got metal covered. We've got heavy guitars. We got that covered as well. We have strings. So that puts us in that symphonic metal world, but we also have like synthesized strings or some other synthesizers happening, which takes us a little bit out of the symphonic metal and puts us more towards the cinematic metal.
Within a heart of joy grow possibilities to transcend inflicted boundaries. We will have to move beyond all fears that do pull us down. I try to understand why I can see it all while I navigate through outer space. I hope we survive the fall. We'll need to unite them all.
This is like really interesting because this is so like the chords they're using, the kind of rhythms in the text that we're getting from Simona's vocals here is so like non-traditional. It's really an interesting soundscape all the way through, and I'm really just like pay attention to the rhythms of the lyrics, and they don't like cadence how most music cadences, which means how it like finds the end of a phrase. There's almost like an ongoing kind of feeling, and there's some really interesting chords happening in the background as well. Otherwise, of course, Simona's sounding phenomenal. The voice is so clean, so pure. This is right, and this is very comfortable middle to upper middle range for her. So we're not getting any of the big Simona, belting yet, and certainly none of the operatic stuff is coming in yet either. We talked a lot about that on the podcast as well, the kind of classical training that she has and puts into her music. Anyway, let's keep going. It's really cool.
We will have to move beyond all fears that do pull us
Cool chords.
To unite them all, 'cause peace exists in chaos. Do hearts believe that fate is on our side?
Like that's just not a chord transition I would have ever expected. We get this down section, which is cool. So like a lot of the big heavy guitars are gone. We still have our drums. Simona has pulled back her voice a little bit, operating in the same vocal range, but just not singing as big, dialing back to a more kind of intimate place of singing. But then there's this crazy chord that happens. That's the reason I stopped the video and went back. Okay, that was it right there. Let me see what happens here. So I think we go from E minor to F major. It's a very bizarre change. Normally that'd be like a full-on key change, but I don't know if it is. We'll see where they come back to. Nice. Okay, so now we're obviously getting into Simona's upper range, which is so excellent. And what was really cool is she stayed almost entirely in that chest voice connection, very much belting, very pure tone, which really means the vocal folds are coming together nicely. But we had like 1 second of her flip up into that head voice and do a more classical sound. And typically, by the way, especially for sopranos and mezzos, especially for sopranos, kind of the higher your voice gets in the opera world, the more you actually perform in that head voice in opera. You train that head voice to be really, really powerful because you can sing so much higher in that register than you can in your natural chest range. And so what we get here is at the very highest of that chorus moment. I think it's the chorus. We'll see. Simona flips into a more classical head voice, and then she comes back into that chest voice, which is really cool. But otherwise, really excellent belting as well. That's up to, so high D above tenor high C. That's getting way up there for full chest voice. On that high E, she has this beautiful transition from chest voice belting into head voice with vibrato on it. Really, really nice. That's just like such good control of her voice to be able to do that so smoothly. Perfect. Okay, and that she actually, so I just mentioned she flipped up to sing that high E and that more classical sound in the head voice. She just belted it a couple times later, so kept the chest all the way connected, all the way to that E5 above tenor high C, very, very high to be belting in a pure chest connection. This is just such a cool chord progression. Also, notice how in this verse, the drums, at least in that first section, were taking a kind of like halftime feel. So instead of, you have, and it hits harder that way. I actually want to see what they're doing with these chords. It's pretty cool. Okay, so B to C, and then up to E. and then they go. Let's see here.
While we search for our stability,
E, B, C, E. Oh, yeah, bizarre. So it goes B, C, E, and then B, C, E flat. That's wild. That is not a chord progression you hear often at all.
we'll have to endure it all to find that we're powerful. I try to understand, but I can see it all.
So we must be in E minor. I believe we're in E minor naturally. So, and I think they're taking B minor in the E minor, then C major, and then to the 1, E, and then they're going B minor, C major, E flat something, which is just, you would rarely hear that in an E minor key. So very interesting. Big nerdy music theory stuff, but whatever. Hopefully you guys enjoy.
Powerful, I try to understand, but I can see it all while surrounded by this emptiness. I bear all the weight of life, walking the fragile sheets of ice. Find stillness in the chaos.
This down section pre-chorus.
Our hearts should trust that we can turn the tide. We
That E minor to F major.
find
So it's just so fascinating. These are I always admire when bands take like unique and kind of weird chord progressions. It's fun. It keeps you on your toes as opposed to like the same 3 or 4 that you hear in a lot of songs. It's cool to do some unique stuff. I'm writing a ton of original music right now, and I make sure that every single song has unique chords somewhere in there. It doesn't have to be all super special, but like throwing in a really cool crunchy chord once in a while goes a long way to keep the song interesting. But yeah, that E minor to F major got me again. That's so cool.
our hearts should trust that we can.
Right there, just out of nowhere.
Our hearts should trust that we can turn the tide. We are unified. These are to you.
And I believe for this chorus they go to B minor. So they've kind of modulated to the dominant of E minor for this chorus, and that you do hear that. But the F major right in the middle was crazy. The alien cadence, ba ba ba, the most powerful cadence. It's so good. Except they didn't go to the 1. They went ba ba, and you expect ba. But they went ba ba ba. They went back to that. They went back to the major 6. I'm sorry. This is such a music theory driven analysis video. This is like weird. Usually I'm only talking mostly about vocals and like audio engineering and stuff, and theory kind of gets in the way, but there's so many like interesting chords happening that's where my brain's going. So just glad you're sticking around for the ride if you're hearing me say this. Another weird chord. what an absolutely bonkers breakdown section with our male vocalist here who's doing the pure harsh vocals. And I remember seeing this for the first time in their music video for Time, where Simona is doing very clean vocals using some of that classical technique occasionally, and then just super harsh vocals from our second singer here. This is cool though. We get a lot of like big leading violin motifs, very virtuosic, jagged though. And we have, like, not, I don't want to say typical breakdown for like really hardcore metal, but like it's almost like it kind of slows down and we just have like heavier drums and heavier guitars, but not much is happening in the whole soundscape. It's pretty cool, and we're clearly getting some storytelling in the video here that we wouldn't get if it were only an auditory experience. But you can kind of feel the intensity though. It's pretty dope. Wow. What a wild and awesome crescendo and build up through this entire second half of that section. And then it kind of feels like it's going towards like this huge climax, but then everything goes away. It's kind of like a fake out drop. Like all the way up. Awesome. Right here. Drums, brass, everything. Wow, cool music video.
Signs of the divine. In every heartbeat lies a story. Shine just
So atmospheric. Then we got a lovely cello that came in our right ear. If you're listening on headphones, in the right ear towards the end of that section. Simona just singing beautifully and angelically, nothing super high, but she's singing it. The approach is very light. It's not all up in a light mechanism, but the approach is actually light, even when she's connected to her chest voice. That's sick.
in every moment we will find signs of the divine. In every heartbeat lies a story. Shine just as we are, be just as we are one. On this journey, our integrity is our great strength.
Here she put a little more like classical space on the word grace. The voice just gets a little warmer. You can literally hear the result. Can't say you hear it happening, but you can hear the result of her throat opening a little bit. Gola aperta, called in Italian when singing opera. Open throat to get that warm sound. And you can hear a little bit of that on the word grace, that she taps just a little bit more into that classical technique.
This journey, our integrity is our great.
Our grace. It's subtle, but I bet you guys can hear that difference there between when she sings our and then grace. Listen to the difference in vocal color. It's just a little bit warmer and kind of rounder.
Integrity is our great strength.
Lovely. This is a sick music video. So I just want to flag we're back there to the chord progression we had on the verse, where it was ba 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 up to E natural, and then ba 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 E to that E flat. Really, really cool. I should just sing an octave higher. That's like I'm singing low B's. That's like the very bottom of my chest range. Nice guitar solo. Nice. So always in the final chorus of a song, I'm waiting to see what a group does or what an artist does to make it a little different or more interesting, or usually more intense than the previous choruses, because you want to finish on the real climax of the song. And we're getting here. Simona just did a really nice vocal option that was different than the previous choruses and more intense. I think she sustained some notes longer, a longer period of time, and took them higher in her range. So we had like some pretty big belting going on, which is dope. I actually want to see what she does exactly. So just a huge high D belt, So not as high as she can go, but a nice big sustained one, which does that itself increases the intensity. Ooh, kick drums. What up, kick drums? So both, we got a little bit of vocal embellishment, shall we call it, from Simona, and we also got those kick drums. Those are the main elements that I've noticed that have increased the intensity of this final chorus. Nice. Badass. So we have this whole outro section too, where we get some really lovely high power belting from Simona, and we get back into that kind of like heavy down section where it's dun 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 dun. It's like the guitars are more sparing, the drums are heavy, and there's not much else happening. I gotta be honest, there's so much I was thinking about music that I really like couldn't possibly have the bandwidth to also pay attention to the plot, so I don't really know what's happening at the end of this video. Don't really follow it. But super awesome. Really enjoyed watching. Just like a beautiful cinematic experience. But let's take this final section and wrap it up. Sweet. All right, y'all. That's it for the day. Thank you for joining me on my first time reaction and analysis of EPICA's Fight to Survive. It's only the second video I've done for them. Please leave your recommendations below. And if you gained some appreciation for this group, if you learned something, please do consider joining my Patreon. That's the best way to support me. And also definitely subscribe if you haven't. A lot of people who watch these videos do not subscribe, and it only takes about 2 seconds, and it's free. So boom, now you're subscribed. Amazing. Now I'll see you in the next EPICA video. Bye-bye.